everyone, and welcome to another edition of TeleHealth Today, Monday morning meetings. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Today we have a special meeting planned for you. It's one of my first actual general practitioners who is actually working as a school doctor in Dubai now for the last 2 years, but has done meetings and helping people for the last 7 years. She's worked in a hospital at Boston and is a great supporter of the platform. It is my pleasure and privilege to introduce Dr. Ummamah Ali. Please take the stage. It's all yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. James. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I really enjoy working with you guys. So as you have already introduced, my name is Dr. Ummamah, and I'm a school doctor working here in Dubai. So today my topic of presentation is about health and wellness. We all already know everything about it, but I just thought that we should, go through it and have a review of how we are taking care of our health. So the reason I chose this topic is that all the happiness belongs, the groundwork for all the happiness is good health. So we'll talk a little bit about our health and see how we are taking care of it. Go to the next slide. So what is health? It's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just the absence of disease. We all know that. So basically, we divide health into two basic types. One is physical health, and the other one is mental health, which is very important nowadays. So if you guys have any questions, we'll just take it at the end after the presentation. Physical health is like we involve pursuing a healthful lifestyle to decrease the risk of disease, maintaining physical fitness. For example, we can protect and develop the endurance of a person's breathing and heart function, muscular strength, flexibility, and body composition. Looking after physical health and well-being involves reducing the risk of injury, and like we can minimize the hazards in our workplace, practicing effective hygiene, washing hands, avoiding use of tobacco, alcohol, or illegal drugs, and taking the recommended vaccines for a specific condition or like according to the recommendation from the country you are living in. So talking about healthy eating in physical health, we see that eating healthy means not just like something that looks good, but it should contain all the nutrients that is required by the body to feel good, have energy. And these nutrients include protein, carbohydrates, fat, water, vitamins, and minerals. These are the basic requirements that should be there in a food that we are eating, and we should be mindful of what we are putting in our body. The reason for choosing this topic is that the worldwide obesity has tripled since 1975, and it's been a major problem in most of the countries, including US, UAE, and all the major countries. Obesity is preventable. That's the good news. So most of the world population live in countries where overweight and obesity kills most of the people than underweight. Although some of the countries, they do have a problem of malnutrition and underweight as well, but obesity is a major risk factor these days. So talking about a healthy plate, how should it look like? Just a general idea that it should be half with all the colorful vegetables and fruits that you like, and 1/4 of it should be the carbohydrate portion, like the starch that we have. It could be rice, bread, or any pastas that you like, preferably brown bread and brown pastas. And 1/4 of it should be protein. It could be in the form of chicken, red meat, fish, egg. So that's how a balanced plate look like. This fruit and vegetable section will cover the vitamin and mineral portion. This carbs will give you the energy, the fuel of the body, as well as the protein. And it will also be cooked in oil, so it will cover the fat portion as well. Talking about healthy oils, we use different oils like olive oil, canola oil, but this thing keeps on changing. There are research about various type of oils, but it keeps changing And nowadays it's believed that such like the ghee or the coconut oil, mustard oil are the best forms of oil that it should be used, but it should be in very low proportion because we don't need a lot of fat in our body to function properly. The extra fat will get absorbed and will be stored in the body, so we don't need that extra fat to be there. So it should be in a very small portion. The more veggies and the greater the variety, the better. Potatoes, French fries don't count as healthy vegetables. So it should be like colorful ones, lots of fruits. It doesn't need any like limited amount until you have some health problems like diabetes. Then you have to control certain fruits like dates and grapes that have a lot of sugar. So you can't eat a lot of them. Otherwise, for a normal healthy person, you can have a lot of fruits. And then for the carbs portion, we could have like whole grains. It can have pastas, white bread, rice, preferably brown rice. Nowadays, there is something called quinoa that is rich in protein, and it helps keep you filled for a longer period of time. And it's a very good source of protein and carb both. So for the protein, we have fish, red meat. It could have like chicken, but we should avoid processed food like sausages and these type of things, all the processed ones. Water, which is one of the very important requirement of our body. Our major body function depends on the intake of water. So instead of going for sugary drinks and having a lot of juices, we should go for simple water, which is very good for our health. You don't have to eat less, you just have to eat right things in the right amount. So I'm not into like certain type of diets in like keto or there are so many different type of diet plans here, but I prefer the right eating, like mindful eating with a right amount of all the nutrients in the food, and the quantity should be in a limited proportion. Talking about protein, 1/4 of your plate should have the protein, and it could include, there are different sources from where you can get it. It could be fish, nuts, beans, salads, vegetables, and limited amount of red meat because it's associated with certain diseases, heart diseases, increased blood pressure. So it should be like 1/4 of your portion of the plate. And we should be avoiding sausages and bacon, as mentioned. So some useful tips for healthy eating, like we should plan whole coming week menu over the weekend wisely. So we have a right mixture of balanced ingredients because usually when we are hungry and we have nothing at home, so we prefer to order from outside. And so the best way to avoid that is to plan your meal ahead for the whole week, get all the ingredients in handy and, get the things ready. And replace sugary drinks with water. Add some lemon and mint to it, give a taste and make it into a detox water. You can use it for the whole day. It helps with the digestion as well. Replace sweet desserts with fresh fruits, add it to yogurt or pudding. If you have sugar craving, you don't have to just starve yourself. You could go for the healthy options. Fresh fruits are the best. Use jaggery and honey instead of white sugar. So white sugar is a form of like sucrose, and we could go for the other form of sugars that are not needed. They don't need insulin to be absorbed in the body, like honey and jaggery. So these can be utilized in a moderate concentration, moderate amount. So this will not be that much unhealthy for you. Instead of frying, we could go for grilling or baking. And nowadays we have those air fryers, even though some researches are going on. They say that it develops some carbon monoxide, but baking and grilling are good options and better options than frying the food. So the second part is mental health, which is very important nowadays, especially after COVID and after, all these lockdown and stuff. So we have to really take care of our mental health. And mental health is like a person's emotional, social, and psychological well-being. Mental health is as important as physical health, and it's a part of, enjoy your life to the full. It is harder to define mental health than physical health because many psychological diagnoses depends on individual perception of their experiences. With improvement in testing, however, doctors are now able to identify some physical signs of some type of illnesses, and they can see changes in the scans, and genetic testing are there that help us to identify those mental problems and get them treated on time. Good mental health is not only categorized by the absence of depression, anxiety, or another disorder, it also depends on a person's ability to enjoy life, bounce back after difficult experiences, to adapt to adversity. Like during the time of COVID, many people were just sitting so depressed, they felt like their life has gone to an end. But at the same time, some people came up with so many different ideas, and I think it was a time when working from home started and people started making their own businesses. So we have to adapt to adversity, and we have to take things to our benefit. And actually the mindset that helps you create better outcomes from certain situations. And then balancing different elements of life, such as family, finances, if you plan those things ahead, so it will give you less of a stress in future, and your mental health will be better. And all these things comes under the umbrella of mental health. We have to feel safe and secure, we have to achieve our full potential. All these things are counted for good mental health. So here are some of the strategies. If you have sessions with me, so we will talk about, and I'll take you through all those steps that we can take to take care of our mental health. We should be drinking lots of water. Water is one of the main components that keeps your mental health better, by giving enough energy to the brain. Brain needs a lot of water to function properly. One of the things that we don't focus much is the sleep. It's also very important for a good mental health. Exercise at least 30 minutes a day is important for keeping you healthy. There are various researches about exercise. It could, even for a cancer patient, there are some studies that shows that like running 1 hour a day help cure cancer as well. So we don't put much emphasis on exercise, but it's really a great help for our mental health and for our physical health. We have to see what we are eating. We have to be watchful about our diet. We have to feel positive. We don't have to keep lots of thoughts in our mind that keeps us engaged and thinking like feeling bad about stuff. So we have to feel positive. We have to think positive, stay prepared ahead of time. This is one of the things, even for autism children and for autism patients as well, that if they come across something that is unplanned and very uncertain, they get really upset. So we have to plan things ahead of time, so it's not come up like a surprise for us. We have to take out time for our own selves. We have to pamper ourselves, take good care, go out with friends, have fun, and we have to set our life goals. That's also very important. We have to talk our stresses out with someone we trust, because we keep on thinking about something and it will just make us sad and depressed. So we have to discuss these things with the counselors or with the healthcare professionals that can guide you through those things. And one of the major problem with everyone is the finances. Like, we have a lot of loans, we haven't planned things properly, so this gives us a lot of stress. We have to consult financial advisors to guide us through that as well. So what are the factors that affect health? It could be various factors. I'll just go briefly through it. It could be a genetic factor, like you'll see in some families, like many family members are just anxious and it's something genetic. So it could be genetic. Environmental factors also affect your health. Over time, environment triggers illnesses. Like, certain diseases are very common in certain lifestyle of people. who are following those type of lifestyle. For example, in Dubai, people mostly prefer to stay indoors because of the extreme weathers, and this is leading to obesity and diabetes and all those problems. Then social and economic environmental factors are also very important. Financial status of a community also affects the health and the relationship. And then we have physical environment that includes, like, if there is a certain disease that is prevalent in an area, if there is a lot of industries around the place where you're living, it could lead to physical like pollution in the atmosphere, then that can affect the health as well. So we have to prefer to be living more around in a greener area. Maybe it's away from the city, but it will be you will be getting, good air, and it will be helpful for your health. A person's characteristic and behavior also affects the overall health. Your lifestyle choices and the genetic makeup of the person also affects the health. We have already talked about health. Now we will talk about well-being. So well-being is a state of being comfortable, healthy, and happy. I've divided it into four major categories: physical well-being, emotional well-being, intellectual well-being, and spiritual well-being. We'll talk about each of them one by one. So physical well-being is like our body is in balance. We achieve 25% of well-being. Physical potential will show its maximum potential when we take care of following four things: what we are eating, how much we are eating, how many times we are eating, and what we are not eating. What we have to avoid those junk and unhealthy food that will affect our physical well-being. And then how much we are exercising every day. It should be at least 30 minutes. We should try to be active. You could do any activity you like. If you're good at sports, you should adopt playing badminton, football, any of your favorite sports, so that we are physically active. And then sleep plays a major role. We have to make sure that we are getting good amount of sleep. For adults, it's 6 to 8 hours, and for children, it's 8 to 10 hours. Every day, we have to get sleep. We have to look for our stress factors and see how we can sort them out. We'll talk about them in a bit. So physical exercise, the guideline says that it should be two major type of exercises that we all should be doing is aerobic activity, the one that makes you breathe faster and makes your heartbeat faster, and then muscle strengthening exercises. The recommendation is 150 minutes each week, or it could be 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Sleep, talking about sleep, minimum 6 to 8 hours of sleep for adults, as we already discussed, and 8 to 10 for the children. Why is sleep important? It's the time when the body gets detox. It's when major processes are happening. Whatever we have, even for a learning point of view, whatever we have learned, the body will store it in the memory centers. So we do need to get and you have, I think all of you have already noticed that if you don't sleep well throughout the night, when you wake up, you feel like some unpleasant sensation is there, and you don't feel yourself, you don't feel good. So we have to take into consideration that we get a good sleep every night. So during that sleep process, nerve cells are repaired. So many functions are going on. Body is releasing growth hormone that helps with your like your cells are repairing, and various hormones are released that help you stay in a good state of health. Some tips are here, like we will discuss more when we are having one-on-one session. But there are some of the strategies that could help to get a better sleep. We should avoid using our gadgets, our laptops, anything 1 hour at least before we sleep. We have to keep the room dark and cold so that it gives a signal to the brain that we have to get ready to sleep. Otherwise, when you're using the gadgets, it emits blue rays that is harmful, and that doesn't give the signal to your brain that it's time to sleep. So you keep, even if you close the phone, you feel like it's not time to sleep. So the brain is getting signals that we have to stay awake, and then it disturbs your sleep wake cycle. Pre-sleep, slow deep breathing and music helps relax the mind for a better sleep. Some people, they prefer to have warm milk with honey. That also helps to get a good sleep. We have talked about physical well-being. Now we'll talk about emotional well-being. And emotional well-being is like you should be positive and you should be away from negative thoughts. And you should love people around you, be happy, forgive people. Life is too short to keep grudges, and just be peaceful and happy in yourself. If you have negative thoughts like anger, jealousy, hatred, and fight, it will impact your health. So just for ourselves, we have to stay away from those negative things. And if you are doing that, you have achieved 50% of your well-being. Talking about intellectual well-being, is the gathering of knowledge and piling up of knowledge. Oxford Dictionary defines it as possession of the ability and skill to be able to handle the situation. Like how you respond at the time of stress shows your intellectual well-being. You have to sharpen intellectual well-being, and you have to is to be able to focus. Like if you are able to focus for a longer period of time, it means your intellectual well-being is intact and you're taking good care of it. And when we are focusing in the present, we are able to do best in the current situation. We don't have to keep on worrying much about the past and previous bad experiences. So we have to forget about them and focus on in the present. Multitasking is sometimes not very useful, but often required. And it reduces our focus, but sometimes we have no other option but to do things at the same time, multiple things. Here are some of the techniques to improve focus. I hope I'm not going very fast and you guys are all catching up. I'll come back to you with any questions at the end. Is that okay with all of you guys? I feel like I'm going really fast, so I just wanted to check.
I'm here.
Okay. Hope you're not
Yeah,
sleeping.
you're
I can
going,
understand
but
you.
it's good.
You're doing okay.
Yeah.
You're doing okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so here are some of the techniques to improve focus.
Okay. So at 4 o'clock today, there is a drain placement in the Elvet access downstairs. Patient
Hi,
lessons.
Sumera.
It was approved over the weekend by Dr. De Silva. They
Alex,
just
could
reached
you
out
do a
saying
mute?
that.
I think
Thank
your
you.
mic is muted, yeah.
Yeah.
So useful techniques to improve focus. We should go for yoga, mindfulness, and meditation. Listen and focus to one thing at a time. That's what Sumera is not doing right now. I think I'm so thankful to her for joining it. She is, I think, on duty now. Thank you so much, Sumera. Be in a quiet environment. That's for you as well. Connect with nature, train your brain, and set daily priority goals. So these are some of the techniques that improve focus. Okay, we talked about mental health. If we are taking stress, it affects in so many ways. Our brain get affected. We can't focus. We feel anxious. We have mood problems. There's mind fogging. So these are the reasons we should not be taking stress. Like we should be trying those techniques that we have discussed previously to avoid the effects of the stress on our body. So in the heart, it could lead to high cholesterol, high blood pressure, increased risk of heart attack, and stroke is there. I don't want to scare you guys, but I just want to show you a brief picture that how stress can affect our body. So we should be trying to stay away from it. It can even affect our immune system, as you will see during the COVID time. Those who were so much scared of COVID actually got that because their immune system went down. So we have to be watchful of what we are eating and how we are keeping our immune system intact. Then it affects the reproductive system as well. GI system, like our digestive system gets affected. It can give you constipation, diarrhea, indigestion, bloating, pain, and discomfort. Our skin gets dried and the nail gets brittle. we can get acne and delayed tissue repair. So these are the reasons why you all should be staying away from stress. So here are some of the tips to cope up with your daily stress. You should adopt a hobby, whatever you like to do. When you were small and you thought to do something and you haven't done it yet, it's the time that you should start doing that. Adopting a hobby makes you less stressed, and you can feel better and you can do better. And then you have to pick up 2 things that you enjoy and try to spare some time for it in your busy schedule. Like, you are busy for the whole next week, but you have to pick up 2 particular things that make you feel happy, and you have to take out time for that. Write down the pending tasks priority wise, like which thing, if you have not done, will make you in trouble. So you have to do that thing first. And then if you write it down and note it down and paste it somewhere, so your brain doesn't have to keep it inside, and you don't have to worry about it all the time. It's one of the strategies used by psychologists for people with stress and anxiety disorders. And if you write those things, then your brain knows, oh, it's written somewhere. You don't have to think about it all the time, and you can avoid getting so much worried. Spend time with your family, friends, and colleagues, and try getting some suggestions or help if you feel you are stuck with something. There's no harm in discussing about something that is worrying you. You have to discuss it, and you have to come up with some solution. You will see that sometimes discussing a problem, you'll realize that you were so much worried for something that doesn't need so much of your attention. So this is one of the things that you can do to avoid stress and cope up with it. Don't overthink about something. That's something that I do as well. And you have to just think that if you can't change something, you can't do much about something, then why to worry so much about it? You just have to go through it and see what are the options you have to solve that problem, but you don't have to keep thinking about it all the time. It will affect your health. So the last thing is spiritual well-being. It doesn't matter which religion you follow. You just have to think about what's your purpose in your life. You need to take 5 major contents of your spiritual wellness, like ownership and authority. There's oneness, truthfulness, no lies. Some people, they try to, do things by lying, which is not good for your spiritual well-being. No backbiting. Don't talk back like bad things about people. It will affect your own health. So just try avoiding that. No arrogance or proud, no negative feeling or insult for anyone, because we know that it will affect our own mental health and spiritual well-being. So we should avoid these things. People in I think we have already been through this, so it's just a summary of what we have already discussed. We have to go for 150 minutes of moderate to high intensity exercise according to American Heart Association to stay healthy and to stay active. So the main takeaway point here is to make yourself a priority. You can't pour from an empty cup. So first you have to take care of your own mental health, own physical health, and then you will be able to take care of the people around you and whatever profession you are working for. If you are healthy, you could do things in a much better way and proper way. So that's all for today. Now we are open for any questions. I hope you guys are not asleep yet.
Hi, Uma. That was a good presentation. This is Dimitri.
Thank you. Welcome, Dimitri.
Not really a question, but I have something to add. So somewhere in the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned oils in moderation. This is true. Oils have to be used sparingly. And you mentioned how they the preferred oils, they keep changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of that is because of this is originating in the United States in particular, and to a certain extent in Western Europe as well. But the idea of alternating between the ketogenic diet and the paleo diet, coconut oil, although it's a semi-solid, maybe so coconut oil, it has a lot of saturated fat. Typically plant oils, they're like more unsaturated fat versus saturated, whereas coconut oil is the exception, it's the opposite.
Okay.
And yeah, many people follow the trend of consuming coconut oil because it also happens to contain medium chain triglycerides.
Yeah.
But they overuse it. They don't use it in moderation. And MCTs are potentially bad for gut bacteria. So,
Right.
so going
And
back
olive
to the,
oil is also, I think at higher temperature, it loses its effectivity. So for salads and dressings, I think olive oil is a better choice.
right.
But for cooking, avocado oil and coconut oil are preferred. Is that right? And desi ghee, you know, these what our ancestors used to use. Now the research says that it is actually good for health and it doesn't have so much of the bad
Are you
effects.
talking about avocado oil?
No, the ghee, the saturated ghee, the cow's milk, and then
Yes.
the ghee is extracted from it. That is actually good for health, and it's
Right.
unsaturated fat. Yeah. So
Unsaturated,
it is
yes.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I have to add, but good presentation overall.
So you are in favor of the ketogenic diet? Since
No,
you
I'm
are a
not in
dietitian,
favor
I
of
can
any
ask.
diet.
Yeah.
So actually, there was a 2009 academic study, and successive studies have been published since 2009, which showed that all these different what are called fad diets, like the ketogenic diet, the South Beach diet, Atkins diet, Ornish diet, all these diets that are popularized by the mass media, for the broad population, they have the equal effect. And the determining factor whether a particular diet, for weight loss purposes, a determining factor if it's suitable or not for a patient, has to do with one's ability to tolerate the restrictions and limitations. So somebody who is able to tolerate the limitations and the restrictions of the paleo diet, well, that person may not be suitable for something else, and vice versa. But the research has shown that it's all equal effect across the population. Although special note of the ketogenic diet, it's difficult to sustain.
The liver.
What's that?
It affects the liver because
Yes,
the fat cannot be digested. That much amount of fat a body cannot digest, and some people have got heart attack and high cholesterol levels because of that. So I don't think it's recommended anymore.
Right. That is correct. So that raises the issue of sustainability in the long term, and obviously that would not be sustainable in the long term.
True. I can't stay without carbs, and it's very difficult. I tried it once, but it helped me lose like 3 kgs, but I can't sustain it. I can't live without rice. I think we should go with how our body is trained to be, rather than making it deficit with the things that is already used to. So in small portions, you can eat everything, but it should be like in a portion. You should have 2 to 3 portions of protein, and there are certain like portions for each food group that we should be consuming every day.
Right.
So if they are taking consultation with me, so we could discuss these things in details. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you so much for your feedback.
Sure.
Hey, Dr. Ummamah.
Hi.
So first of all, this presentation was very touching. And it touches on pretty much everything that a human being has to do to live a healthy, happy lifestyle.
Mhm.
I have a note, I have a comment, and then a question. This May the 8th, 11 years ago, my mom, Francine, passed away. She battled cholangiocarcinoma, an extremely rare bile duct cancer, for 10 months. Now,
Sorry about that.
thank you. And what I believe part of that might have been, she was otherwise healthy. She never drank, nor smoked, nor did any of those other things. She was healthy, and she didn't get to, ironically though, she didn't work out or exercise. And there were, let's just say, some emotional challenges she kept inside for a long time. And now I'm wondering if any of these might have had a role to play in either preventing the disease or prolonging her survival.
Yeah, very good question. So actually, for colon cancer, it's recommended if you have a family history, if there is someone in your family have this disease. So it has so much genetic predisposition. So if there is any family member that is being affected by the disease, the rest of the family members have to go through colonoscopy at an early age, around 40s, just to check for
Not
them.
colon cancer, it's cholangiocarcinoma, bile duct cancer.
Bile duct cancer. Okay, I thought it's gonna. So we have to get screening done earlier stage. If we have any symptoms, we should be consulting our physicians, and they will be referring us to specialists. And other than that, maybe we have to see what were the other factors that could have led her to this disease, and that could have been avoided. Maybe there was so much of stress factor was there. She was not taking care of her diet properly, and it could be the lifestyle that has led her to have that unfortunate event. But we could take care of all those factors just to avoid and to get a better, outcome
Right.
from the life. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And early detection is so crucial. I mean, there are a lot of tools now that were not available 10 years ago, but cholangiocarcinoma is hard to detect. Usually by the time you find it, it's spread.
Yeah, it's difficult to treat as well. So yeah, screening is the option we have, and then for those cancers for which we have the vaccines, we could go for those vaccinations that could help prevent the cancers. And it's also the lifestyle. It's the diet that we are having that can cause various type of cancers in this generation. Because when I compare the older generation, the cancers were not as prevalent, and I blame the diet for this increased risk of cancers to us. So we should be watchful what we are eating and what we are putting in our stomachs.
Right. So my second question is, you mentioned overthinking about something in regards to generally something that shouldn't be done. Now, what's your take on overthinking when you have a lot of tasks to carry out? I mean, for example, when you're operating a business or something like that. What advice do you have to offer for anyone here who finds themselves in that situation?
Mm-hmm. So first, as I mentioned, that you have to list it all down, what things are bothering you, and then you have to go through them one by one. What is the problem? What could be worse situation? And what you can do to prevent that situation. So that helps you come up with certain strategies. And if you are not able to find solutions by yourself, you could go for expert opinions through it could be health counselors, or it could be business advisors. We have business entrepreneurs here, so they could give you a better advice for your problems, and you could come up with some solution for them. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question?
Yeah, maybe we can continue in that direction. Thank you, Dr. Mama, for this good overview. Since you work a lot with children in the school, and probably
Yeah.
also with the parents. So my experience or my thought is that if you start very early to train this and to educate children
Yes.
about this, they would do it automatically later, right? So it's good to
That's
start
very
early, but still, particularly in schools or in today's school systems, it's not so easy to educate the children about such topics, and also the parents. So what advice do you have? Since I'm also involved in school, also with my own daughter, I'm also a teacher. So what is your advice? How can we train small children with that, and also be how can I say, cautious or careful about their own habits, so not to be have a too high doctrine or something, but yeah, at the same time teach, but at the same time also take care about their own habits and traditions. Yeah, and scare them. Yeah. So what is your take
So
on
very
this,
good
or your
question,
suggestion?
actually. Yeah, here in Dubai, they have started giving health sessions, health awareness sessions, which are very helpful, not only for the parents, but also for the children. So recently on Breast Cancer Awareness Day, we did organize health session for year 9 and year 10 students, so that those with family history or the cousins around them, they have breast cancer, they should know how to take care of them. They should not be scared, and they should go for screening earlier. So we have started doing health sessions in the schools. And these days, because of so much exposure with the social media, I have seen children coming and then they are saying, I have panic attack, I have anxiety at very young ages, you know. So yeah, this is something that they are being getting aware, and they are facing. Then we have to talk about them about limited use of social media, and because of other problems going on around the world, that is also impacting the children. Because recently I got a girl and she was crying, and I asked her the reason, and she couldn't actually explain that what is the reason. When I dig further, I took history from her, then I came to know that she was watching some videos of the children dying around the world, and this was impacting her mental health. So we talked to the counselor in the school, and she came up with strategies. We did some breathing exercise with her and told her some ways to, you know, cope up with those situations and those conditions that they are facing. So health awareness, it's a very important tool that we should give. We should be doing like patient-centered care. We should give them the authority to decide for themselves what they want, and then we should guide them in the right direction, that how they should be taking care of their health and what choices they should be making for their eating habits and for the activities that could lead them to being a healthy adult. So these are some of the strategies we are following here in our schools to cope up with those issues. And this social media is actually impacting both positively and negatively, because the children are getting you know, awareness about various diseases and stuff, but at the same time it is affecting their mental health as well. So a good use, balanced use is really important for the children as well as for the adults.
Yeah, as you say this now, I remember when I was at school, we had cooking as a elective mainly, but I think that's more and more important to also do cooking together with the children, and they learn how to cook. Because I mean, you also mentioned it. Fast food is very easy to purchase if you're hungry and you don't have something at home, and if you're educated to cook yourself from a very early age, then you're used to it, and then you can make very simple dishes too. And so I think this is also something we can do more in school.
Kids with our daily grocery, we have to make them let them make the right choices. Like I have allowed my kids to cook over the weekend, and they come up with new different recipes. They are the food in charge in the house, and they could just, you know, ban certain stuff for certain, like if we had so much ice cream last week, so we will not be having it next week. And there are like certain rules in the house, so that, you know, if they are the in charge, they have to take care of not being eating unhealthy stuff. So yeah, they do mindful cooking, mindful eating. And one of the other things is that while you are eating, you should not be using social media, because there are some centers in the brain, satiety centers. They don't get the signal once you are filled if you are watching and eating at the same time. But as I've seen some of the mothers, they are doing this with those picky eaters who don't like to eat, so they just feed them while they are watching TV or something. But it actually doesn't give you the signal when you are full and you have to stop eating. So yeah, we have to use now new strategies, and it's quite different than our time when we used to be kids. It's like a lot of other options are there for the children, so we have to deal them accordingly.
When I was an undergraduate, the cooking classes and the food service classes were not elective; they were mandatory.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
we
that's
going
good.
into the
Yeah, that's
nutrition
good.
and dietetics field, we had to know the internals of food service operations. We had to know about basic food science. So there was a class on cooking, but also a class on food science where we applied the theory of how ingredients work in practice. But I
It's
have a
actually
question here.
a good idea to introduce this cooking to children so that they know
Yeah,
about nutrients and they know about these things.
certainly.
It was,
But I do have a question. I've heard that many times before that social media, it has like a positive aspect, but also a negative aspect, particularly with mental health, how it's causing increased rates of depression, anxiety in younger people. I like to call social media an electronic vice. Is that characterization, is that too extreme to call it an electronic vice?
I don't think so. It depends on the use, how you're using it. Like if you're using it for good purposes, it's useful. If you're not, then yeah, it affects you adversely. Yeah. So it's just the right use of I think it's the same for anything. If you're using it the right way, it's beneficial for you. And if you're not, it could harm you. Even something really positive could do the same thing.
Don't
You
let
have to-
Facebook hijack your dopamine.
Yeah, it's very addictive. I have seen the research. It says that it's more addictive than cocaine. If you see, like, if children are into games and if you don't let them play, they behave so aggressively. It does trigger something in them. So yeah, it has impacts, and now the studies are going, and we know that the one who has invented iPads doesn't allow the children, his own children, to use it. So there must be
Oh,
some
wow.
reason behind it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve
That I
Jobs
did
is
not
very
know, but
aware.
that's good to
Steve
know,
Jobs
yeah.
is very much aware. I think his kids
Yeah.
never used electronic
He wouldn't
devices.
allow his kids,
It's
yeah.
it's really interesting.
Especially
Yeah.
at an early age, at the age of 3 and 4 years, the children should not be allowed, because it impacts their cognitive abilities, and it impacts their thinking power, and it's not good for their mental development.
Yeah,
especially at
I
an early
mean
age.
these studies we know and dopamine and so on, but I like your this was very interesting for me that you mentioned the studies that if you eat and at the same time you're watching television, even I mean
Yeah.
it's not only electronic devices, that you don't know when you're
When you have to
enough,
stop.
when you have to stop and so on. So I think these connections, we are not aware of these, right? And this is very interesting. So I guess we need much more studies in this, and at the same time, it's not the studies alone. We also need to find out how we can educate that to the people, right? And tell them, okay,
there's
you can
something called
use
mindful
it.
eating.
Yeah.
This will tell you, if you
Mindful
search
eating,
about
yeah.
it will it will tell you, even when you're chewing, you have to focus on that, and then your body and brain will release certain enzymes to digest that particular food. So there's a lot about it. If you are interested, you could go and search. And then there's something called mindful eating, and we should all be doing that. So that will give you the actual benefit of anything that you're eating. And if you're not aware of what actually is going inside you, so you will not get the actual benefits. That's what they claim about mindful eating. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's very insightful.
Any question from Mr. James? You seem very quiet today.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I did. I wrote a few things down for you. I was letting everybody else go. First of all, you did go quick, but I love that. I know people have different things, but for me, like when you're going quick, you're really catching my attention and making it easy to focus. And so I appreciate it. That was good. Thank you.
I had the focus test as well during the session.
But yeah, so one of my questions, and it goes a little bit on what Alex said, but on your presentation as well. I tend to feel, and this is without any kind of medical PhD or anything, but I tend to feel that, like, if I had to put a number, I'd say 50% of health problems come from the inside, from mental health first, and then exit the body as a physical problem. And I just throw that number out there, but if you had to put a number on it, just as a ballpark estimation, what would that number be?
It's difficult to number it out, but yeah, I think it should be 50%. Yeah, I'm not really sure about the real number, but yeah, mental health affects a lot of things. 50%, according to me, is the right number. Yeah. I'm not really sure if it actually has a number like.
Right, and I think it would be impossible to ever prove, but
yeah, because it's different for everyone. For one person, it could be like 20%, but for another person, it is more than that. So we can't actually give it a number. Yeah.
Good. And then just one more thing I was gonna ask you. In all your years of doing this, is there an illness or even a remedy that you have found specifically very helpful to your clients or the people you've served? Like, what has really been a good one for you?
In terms of taking care of our health, or generally?
Both, either one.
Yeah, so as we were talking about COVID, during COVID time, I want to share this one, that I was really happy to help an 80-year-old person with COVID who was being treated at home, because we knew that going in the hospital, there were more chances of him getting infected and getting some hospital-acquired infections. So the attendants were very educated, and they managed everything at home. And I could proudly say that I was able to treat a COVID patient, an 80-year-old COVID patient at home, and he recovered and he did really well. And yeah, so this telehealth is the future of medicine now, that we could treat patients at the comfort of their home with all their facilities at home. And yeah, so this is one of the case. Other than that, I've treated diabetic patients with my healthcare plans and the treatment plans that we have discussed a little bit of it. But yeah, after starting exercising and after taking care of their health, their sugar levels are well under control, and they're doing really well, and they're happy about it. So it's something related to the physical health.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I get the feeling that if we were to work together, that one thing that makes you maybe unique or special is that you tailor fit and give each one of your clients a unique plan of action or course of action. And I think that's very essential.
Yeah, I believe in patient-centered care. I won't force a person to go for the treatment that I think is good for him or her, but I would come up with something that he is happy about or she's happy about, along with what is best for him or her. And it should be a multidisciplinary team deciding what should be done in particular case and particular disease treatment. So it should be a well combined treatment plan that should be followed for that particular patient. And that's how I think it works here in US. A multidisciplinary team of doctors come up with their plans and decide, because I know I will share my mother's case. My mother is a heart patient. She's diabetic as well. And then she had triple vessel disease. 3 of her vessels were blocked. And then at that time, we had to decide if I should go for immediate bypass or I should go for angioplasty or angiography. And I went to 3 different doctors. I went to emergency care physician. He gave me an advice that you should wait until she gets a heart attack and then get her treated at that time. I went to the cardiologist who advised me to go for angioplasty with multiple stents. Like around 12 stents will be needed because she has triple heart disease. And then I went to the cardiac surgeon who advised me to go for bypass, considering that she's diabetic and she has other risk factors as well. So it was at that time, it was difficult for me to decide to go for which option. And then I had to take second opinions and, do my own research to come up that we decided to go for bypass for her. And alhamdulillah, she is like now 12 years has passed and she's doing good now and she's healthy. But except for the diabetic part, she eats a little bit of sugar and her sugar level goes up and down. So we have to like keep fighting to keep her on track. But yeah, other than that, from the cardiac perspective, she's doing well. And I think it was the right decision to go for bypass, considering her diabetes risk factor, because if she gets a heart attack, she won't be having any symptoms, which will be very dangerous in the long run. So yeah, so we have to like decide wisely what we should be doing in a particular situation. And different doctors have different opinions, so it should be a multidisciplinary team that should help us to come up with a certain plan for a patient according to his condition and his symptoms and his problems. That's what I believe.
That's awesome. I love it. Get the client involved in their own remedies. That's great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? I've seen you, Alexander. It's the first time I'm seeing you. Welcome here to the presentation. You'd like to say something?
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It was very clear and interesting. I don't have questions. I was just wondering, because these days I'm trying to drink more water, because I've heard that it's so good for your skin, for your body, for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, like, if there's an amount of liter you should drink every day, or if it's the same for everyone, or if it's different.
Yeah, the recommendation is at least 10 glasses of water every day. Yes, and there is an app on the phones that reminds you when, because in winters we usually forget to drink. So this app, what is the name of the app? Drink or for water intake? It reminds you after drink water is the name of the app. It helps you to, when you are busy in work and you forget to drink water, it will remind you that you need to drink now. Just like other apps in the mobile that helps you to, it says that you should get up now and have a walk. Just like that, it's a water reminder app that helps you to drink, especially during winters when we don't feel thirsty. but we do need water for our activities inside the body, the digestion, excretion. Yeah, at least 10 glasses is the recommended. You could drink as much as you want if you don't have any kidney issues or your body is functioning fine. So you could drink as much as you want, and it does help you lose weight as well, keep your skin brighter, which is, I think, the best incentive a girl can get from it. So yeah, drinking water is really important for our health.
Okay, thank you for the tip. I will download the application. It's good to have a reminder.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any questions on the YouTube channel? My friend was here. I think she has left. Maybe she left some questions for us. If anybody could see the live session, I think there is something on the chat.
I need to check, but I made just a comment to inspire others to write a comment, because sometimes people are inspired if they see a first comment.
Yeah.
But
most health problems start in the mind and exit through the body. That's actually true. If you worry so much, you get something or the other.
Yeah, but in the YouTube, no, I don't see anything on the YouTube.
One thing I can just add, because you said ways of relieving stress is to-do lists, and you mentioned entrepreneurs, and as an entrepreneur, I can definitely say that has helped me a lot. I get stressed out. Sometimes there's too much to do. What am I going to do? You want to hide in the closet, but when you start making a to-do list and you say, okay, I'm just going to do this one thing and forget about everything else. I'm just going to do this one. And then you take care of the one. You're like, that wasn't as hard as I thought. Now I can do one more. And yeah, very much is good. So.
That's called chunking. You have to take one problem at a time and try to come up with some solution, and then it doesn't look like you have a lot of things to do. So it's one of the strategies too.
That's good. Thank you. Warner, did you have a question, or were you just agreeing?
No, I was just agreeing, and this one thing at a time. I mean, this is also what I mentioned in my presentation. Also to focus as an entrepreneur, particularly if you're an solopreneur, right? We always want to have more products, more clients, whatever, more. And the opposite is actually true. You need to have one thing at a time, one task, one business, one client. And yeah, that's actually, I completely agree.
You could have other things at a later time, but for a particular time, like if you're thinking about something, you should be thinking only about that particular thing to come up with a solution. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that was a great presentation, and I thank you all for being here, especially you, Doctor. And any closing words before we close this down?
Thank you for giving me the
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I think you've taken care of it Oh yeah, thank you so much, Mr. James, for giving us the opportunity and this platform to discuss things and have someone to, share ideas and share things together. It's really enjoyable journey to be with you guys.
I'm sorry. One person who I just admitted and was joining, they had extremely loud noise and kept unmuting themselves, so I just removed them. I'm pretty sure nobody was able to hear that last part. Could you repeat that, guys?
No, and thank you for removing them.
Yeah, I thought somebody's taking care of their mental health and listening to music just to calm themselves down. so we didn't mind
Yeah,
that.
maybe, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so I just said that thank you, you guys, for giving us this platform where we could come and share ideas and collaborate with each other. It's really enjoyable journey till now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for encouraging us. For the May, we're already preparing a program also for May. It's very interesting speakers coming up. And yeah, I will make the program within this week, and we will have virtual assistants. We will have financial literacy trainers, other life coaches, and life and mental coaches, and yeah. So let's stay in touch. And
Set platform for all of them. So whoever is having trouble, they will directly come to them and get their problem sorted. So good luck for everyone.
That was in my notes too. You said, isolation is not healthy. Talk to people, and so I'm trying to balance it. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for your time and attention, and thank you for bearing me for so long and listening without sleeping. It was a pleasant meeting. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone.
The pleasure was ours.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.